welcome back to another episode of Top to Flop, my best to worst video series, and it opens the discussion as well to the lack, should we say, of kit Fistos that exist. I only have 4, so it's going to be a short episode. I actually thought I had more than that for some reason. I've only just acquired a new one recently as well, which is part of this lineup. A really good figure, but first of all, let's just get straight into it. The best figure they've ever made for kit Fisto is the Vintage Collection one. And this, of all candidates for reissues, repacks, whatever you want to call them, is prime, because he is so expensive on the secondary market, and it's just a phenomenal figure that. So let's get a bit closer to them. In fact, if I just go like this, I might stay handheld. Still haven't got a new phone yet, but I will hopefully soon. This kit Fisto is awesome. For whatever reason, I have his cloak hanging off him like that. Just makes him look a little bit more cool. It's hanging almost like he's about to whip it off and fight. This came on the Attack of the Clones Vintage Collection card back. But dare I say, and others have said it as well, that the face of this one is very reminiscent of how he looked in Revenge of the Sith, going down the corridor with Mace Windu and friends. In fact, if I pan down there, in a group of 4, these are all figures that are so hard to get in any format. I mean, this is another exclusive to Vintage Collection figure, although no, actually he may have come out in the Legacy Collection like that. But, you know, people are dying for this figure loose, so bring him out again somehow. And I thought it would have been nice to see him on a Gendy card back. If you'd like me to, because we've got a bit more time, I'm going to do something I've never done with this figure, which is take his robe off. I opened this off a Vintage Collection card back. That was one of the most expensive opens I've ever done. Like £40 he cost me or something like that. Well, he was worth that at the time. I think I got him for less, but I opened him. Could have got 40 quid for him, but yeah, I just wanted the figure so badly. I just had to do it. Oh, and he's got look at that, he's got ball jointed hips as well. Why haven't they made him again? Are they having a laugh or nah? He'd be even good on a Revenge of the Sith card back if that was possible. So that's my number 1 without question. Interesting. Let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. The next figure is one I recently acquired, and I never knew it existed, which is bizarre since I have been collecting and following 3 3/4 inch for an eternity. But this figure is really piqued my interest because I'm a big fan of Gendy Clone Wars, the original animated 2003 series, and there is a whole arc or short series, well, not even a series, it's just a quick episode, which is what the Clone Wars was like. It was just shorts, almost 5 or 7 minutes a piece, were they? Very short. And it was him with the Quarren and the Mon Calamari underwater. Obviously he's amphibious and he's shirtless. He looks very animated, obviously because it's in a cartoon. He looks a very certain way, but if he were to be done in the realistic style, his muscles are almost exaggerated in the cartoon. But I suppose one could imagine if he were to be shirtless, he would look like that. You know, he's not a massive. He's not a complete and utter beefcake, is he? A meathead. But this figure really does well with that. Where this figure falls down, though, is the articulation is not so good. It's ball-jointed head, swivel arms, swivel waist, and then the legs there. I'd say that's only 6 POA, that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But he looks great in that. And also from behind there as well. Look at the locks. Let's compare that to the Vintage Collection one. These are hanging down more. He's well sculpted, he's well painted, and he looks heroic. Very good. Let me just double check there's no more articulation. I've lied to you. There's 2 more. You can do that with you can't do it with the wrist, but you can do it with his feet. They articulate there. So let's add another 2 to the 6. That takes us to 8 POA. The stand is like that though. Empire Strikes Back kit Fisto, I don't think so. There's such a terrible error by Hasbro. These are obviously going in order, as I say, top to flop. That's number 1 in my opinion. This is number 2. Number 3, one could put this in last place due to articulation, but these are all these figures from this era. This is the 2002 kit Fisto. They all were like that. They had set stances, limited articulation, although I dare say I bet you his wrists articulate. We'll have a look in a minute. This is the first ever Kit Fisto that was ever out, as far as I'm concerned, and it's the first one I ever bought. And there was something about Kit Fisto in that film, Attack of the Clones. He stood out, that bit when he force pushed 3PO. In fact, I've just acquired this 3PO now. I've been able to make him now. Go and check out my Revenge of the Sith opening video. Kit Fisto had a certain humour about him, and he smiles as well in the Genndy Clone Wars too, and then he just looks badass in Revenge of the Sith, although he gets taken out pretty darn quickly. Again, look at the sculpt of the hair at the back there. Let's compare that with this Saga Collection one. I didn't tell you, this is the Saga Collection of 2006. Vintage Collection was 2011 at least. I'll correct that if I'm wrong on that. And we'll look at the, this one is definitely 2002, the blue line. And I loved all the Jedi from back then because they looked great. Sculpting, paint, brilliant. They had stances, as I say, but all figures did in that line. You know, they bent the knee in a set way, you couldn't fix it. But in terms of just using them as a statue looking good on the shelf, they do that. I just couldn't give this guy last place. On a technical level, you could maybe, but he has swivel there. He's got a swivel on the wrist, swivel head. Has he got a break there? Sometimes some figures, even in the 1999 Phantom Menace line, they would have a swivel here, but he doesn't. And then there's an articulation there, but as you see, he's pre-posed almost. The stance is the wide stance sort of thing. Power stance, whatever you want to call that. Doesn't work that way. Oh, it might do. It's really for that way. God, I've never really articulated his legs before. I can't get him back to how I used to have him. And that's a metal lightsaber. I don't know if that's a lot of these figures used to have magnets on the hand, but his doesn't. But that would work on the Dooku figure, the Darth Tyrannus, which has got a magnet on his palm. It would definitely attract that lightsaber. That's made out of metal, that. He's not smiling like he did at 3PO. There's a scene, actually, when he is wading through. He's outside the arena, and he's slashing his saber when they're all advancing forward. You know, the AT-TEs and the gunships and everything. And he looks quite aggressive in that one shot. But apart from that, he's a smiley Jedi. And then in last place, ladies and gentlemen, this figure here I had high hopes for when I bought it. I'd say I bought this in about 2018 maybe. I bought it because I had such a high opinion of the 2005 Revenge of the Sith line. I still do. And I just wanted an articulated Kit Fisto because I desperately wanted the Vintage Collection one, and I thought I'd give this one a go. Yes, as you can see, I've got him facing away because that's how I have him on the shelf. So I have him next to, you know, all these characters, you know, the realistic. So that's Ewan McGregor. And then, you know, the super articulated, non-animated looking characters, because Kit would have been part of that. You could use any Kit Fisto to do that, and damn, I dare say, like I've already said, I use this figure for that purposes, but that's specifically for Genndy Clone Wars, the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars, as opposed to Dave Filoni. But this figure here, I was a little bit disappointed when I finally opened it years ago. He definitely looks like a cartoon character there. That's not even how he looks in any of the shows. His eyes are, he looks like a different character. The figure's great though. You've got ball joint shoulders, ball jointed elbows. He's got a swivel waist. He's got ball jointed knees, and he's got ball jointed hips there. No, he's not. He's got swivel hips. So he's got loads of good articulation. Oh, let me just hold that focus for you. So I dare say it's really good, but it's just so let down by the face. The body is not the same as the TVC one. Just thought I'd just compare that for you all. But I have him looking that way because the braids, dreads, whatever you call them, do look pretty cool. So I just, something about the face, it's just like he's smiling a bit, but he looks too fishy. He looks like a fish guy. I know he is amphibious or fishy, but like I can see a little bit of him here. There's creative license with this one anyway, and it works. This one, I can see the smaller eyes that you saw in Attack of the Clones. This one, I can just see Revenge of the Sith all day long. That is just phenomenal, that face. But with this one, As I say, that's probably why I put him on my Clone Wars shelf. He's got an animated sort of look to him. But I don't dare have him facing forwards. I have him looking that way. And I've said this so many times, but I really must do a video on the figures that I have facing away like that. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it. We're going to end on the best one now. This is Kit Fisto from the Vintage Collection. A phenomenal figure. And they really need to bring him out again, man. It's ridiculous. He's too expensive now to open. If you were to buy him loose, you'd have to pay a fortune as well. He would be technically rare to get. All right, thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've enjoyed that. I apologise that I don't have any Dave Filoni figures of Kit Fisto. Just never got round to getting them, and I bet you they're a fortune as well on the secondary market. Only One Kenobi here, only one. Out.